In a few minutes to join. Let us officially begin. Once again, a very warm welcome to everyone on this present webinar. My name is Mariam, and I'm a social media assistant at South Concepts, and I'll be your host for today's session. So, if this is your first time joining one of our webinars, we are so glad to have you here. And to those who have attended our previous sessions, thank you for being a part of our community. For those who are just getting to know us, South Concept is a study abroad consultancy, and we are dedicated to helping aspiring international students navigate every stages of their study abroad journey. So one of the ways that we get to do this, apart from our newsletters and social media, of course, is through our monthly webinar series. So yeah, one more thing. This week is particularly special for us because it marks 1 year of Self Concept online presence. So whether you have been with us from the beginning or today is your very first webinar, we are really grateful to have you here, and we look forward to being a part of your journey. With that said, so let's dive straight into the today's session. So today's webinar is titled How to Study in Brazil with Scholarships. So if you've been looking at studying abroad, but you want to explore opportunities that are beyond the common destinations like the US, UK, Canada, and the likes, then you are in the right place to be. So our speaker today will be walking us through everything you need to know. And I believe you live with practical information that you can apply to your own journey. So before we dive in, please just feel free to drop your questions in the chat as the session progresses. So we'll address them during the question and answer session. So moving on, it is my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Scholar Nonso Okoli. I hope I got that right, the pronunciation right.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. That is correct.
okay. So Scholar Nonso Okoli is a PhD scholar in nanoscience and advanced materials at the UFABC in Brazil, where he is currently studying on a Brazilian government scholarship. And today, he will be sharing his journey and practical guidance on securing scholarships and studying in Brazil. So please join me in welcoming Scholar Nonso Okoli. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction. As the moderator said, my name is Nonso Crowley, a PhD student in UFABC in Brazil. I'm in Sao Paulo precisely, and today we'll be talking about navigating through postgraduate admission in Brazil. Can I share my slide?
Yeah, please do. Please go ahead.
Okay. Let me see if just give me a minute, some minutes. Oh, okay. So I'm at the beginning. Can you all see my slide?
Not okay. Yes, we can now.
Okay. So navigating through postgraduate admission in Brazilian universities, program scholarship and entry pathways. So as I've said before, my name is Colin. So my school is UFFBC. I have so far so good. I have some citations, scholarly citations, and in terms of professionalism, I have a BSc in physics, MSc in physics. Before I traveled, I was a lecturer at Madura University, Okija, Anambra State. I have some skills, data science, material analyst, and Python programming. In terms of Brazil, Brazil has a vast history about the colonization by Portuguese, and in terms of the education, they are the best in South America. So when you talk about Brazil, Argentina, and the rest of them. So in terms of literacy level, about according to statistical data available, Brazil is about 95% point one Brazilians are literate. So the literacy level is high here in Brazil, and also the language is Portuguese, as I've said. In terms of culture, their culture cut across both African culture. They have Europeans, they have Asians, all here in Brazil, and a lot of enjoyment. As we normally say in Nigeria, Brazil is a place of enjoyment where you come and spend your money and do sort of enjoyment and so. So everything here is here in Brazil. Then, in terms of higher education, Brazil has a vast number of institutions, basically higher education institutions, both federal, state, and private. And as I've said before, in terms of its highest ranking, Brazil, the best university here in South America is from Brazil, USP, University of Sao Paulo, followed by Unicamp. They are all in Sao Paulo here. So, and Brazil is one of the major economies, as you know, that is among the BRICS country in the world. Talk about Brazil, Russia, China, South Africa, and India. So these are the BRICS countries, and Brazil is one of them. And they are the major manufacturer of aerospace technology, and in terms of research, they have vast research output, scholarly output, and the research output is being recorded or observed in their products. Most of they are sustainable in terms of using their products. They don't import some of what they use. Then, in terms of states, Brazil is made up of 26 states and the federating units, and there are about 2,240. Some data will say there is up to 2,600 institutions, both private and public. So these are some of the institutions located in zones, or they call it regions here in Brazil. It's like the south, south, and southwest region. We have similar thing. What we have in Nigeria, we have similar thing here in Brazil. They have the north, the northeast, the southeast, the south, and south, the north central west. The exact way we have it in Nigeria. So this is major point of this today's webinar: admission in Brazil. So in terms of admission in Brazil, you can secure admission in so many ways, either as a GCUB scholar. GCUB is just internet. Some universities in Brazil came together, then established themselves as a partner through which they recruit. Let me use the word recruit international students for universities in Brazil. You also have Sao Paulo Research Foundation, FAPEBS. They also offer scholarships, research grants to Brazilians and foreigners as well. Then the third one is PEC-PG, and this PEC-PG is the one offered by Brazilian government, and is a kind of an annual scholarship opening or call. And they also provide a sandwich doctoral program for people that wants to come to Brazil to stay for maybe 6 months, 1 year, depending on the agreement with the school and also with the Brazilian government. Then you can also secure admission through internal selection, where you have information about the university you want to get admission into. Then you follow the selection, the internal selection within the university, and they go through the process. At the end of the day, the people that applied will be classified, and after classification, they will now give scholarship based on classification. Classification has to do with from the first to the last. So, take for example, if they have 5 scholarship openings, and 10 persons apply for admission. So what they do is that at the end of the admission process, they will classify all the applicants based on their performance. Then the first 5 candidates will be issued the scholarship, and the other ones, the remaining 5, if they perform well, they will issue them admission letter with that scholarship. So for such persons, if you have means of livelihood or sponsorship, as an individual or personal sponsorship, you can just request for admission letter there and use it and process your visa. Yeah. Then you have World Academy of Science and Brazilian government, kind of partnership with TIWAS and the CMPQ. CMPQ is still Brazilian government. Then this just for postgraduate admission. Then undergraduate admission, you have PEGG. The PEGG is specifically for people that have Portuguese language proficiency. So if you have the certificate, you can apply for admission to study in Brazil through this scholarship. Then for the second one is a student agreement program. This PEG PLG is for people that without prior knowledge of Portuguese language. But what they will do is that they will come, if you succeed through this means, the government will allow you to stay in Brazil for 1 year, then learn Portuguese, after which you can now start your undergraduate studies. So how to identify universities and scholarship opportunities? Now, the first thing is to define your academic goal. You have to talk about what you want. Do you really want to study in Brazil? Then, if you have identified your interests and the level of studies you want, your postdoc, people also come here for postdoc research, postdoctoral research as well. Then you talk about your research university, which universities, if you have narrowed your country to Brazil, you talk about your research universities, which university do you want to go? Their ranking in terms of all the research ranking platforms we have. Then you explore the means. As I've said before, you have scholarship opportunities, you have GCUB, you have PEC-PG, you have Sapporo State University, you have other scholarship boards in various 26 states of Brazilian Federation. Then you can explore those options as well. But the major ones is what I just listed. Then you prepare to connect with potential supervisors. Very important. Take for example, I came in through internal selection process. That's through university internal selection process. So you have to contact the supervisor, the supervisor must agree that he's going to supervise you. So sometimes all you need to do is to put up your code email, send across the supervisors in that program or department. If you are lucky, somebody somewhere will pick up interest in you based on what you have presented to him. Then, if you have gotten the consent from a supervisor, the next thing is to apply for admission. Then I have a QR code here for, I'll still maybe send it to the organizers, where I've listed some schools and their link through which you can just click and see admission opening presently going on. So this is the QR code you can scan. It's just a document where you have some about 17 universities with their admission link. So step-by-step guide to applying for admission and scholarship. Part of what I've said before, you have to check your eligibility. You have to prepare your document, your CVs, your transcript, motivational statements, research proposal, and letter of recommendation. Proficiency in language. For postgraduate studies, proficiency in Portuguese language is not compulsory, but it's expected that before you end your studies here, you must have gotten it. So then recommendation letter from your previous supervisor or lecturers is very important. Then in terms of your CV, in Brazil, mostly they make use of what they call the latte CV. There is a platform through which you can develop your CV. About 90 to 80% of universities in Brazil, they usually ask about latte CV. So I will share the link. When you go to the website, you register, then fill up all the forms that are there, and you can print out the CV. So a submit application, I've said is then track and respond to the application. Now, one of the things I've discovered about Brazil is that they don't send messages mostly when you apply. I've seen some. Can you hear me? Are you still with me?
Yes, we are here.
So one of the things I've noticed about Brazilian universities is that they don't send messages. There's what we call the notice of admission process. So it's expected that you follow the notice because every step is being documented, the steps and the dates. So they usually don't send message to students. It's expected that you follow the the steps and the dates as stated in that notice of admission process. Then, in terms of your planning arrival, applying for visa, recently a president visa application is being delayed due to number of students from Nigeria that are requesting for visa and traveling documents. So that's usually it takes before now you can just get a visa, Brazilian visa for like 3 weeks or 4 weeks. But recently, some people have applied. It took like 2 months, 3 months for the visa to come out. So that is a challenge now. So in terms of language, I've mentioned this before. Talk about language proficiency. If you are planning to study undergraduate in Brazil, you have to write Portuguese proficiency exam or get the certificates down there in Nigeria. But if you are planning to study postgraduate, do your postgraduate studies in Brazil, then you don't need the Portuguese language proficiency. Then some schools will ask you for English proficiency or maybe certificate from your school, which is what I use from your school in Nigeria, showing that you studied your undergraduate or master's with English language. So, as I've said, these are scholarship landscape. I've mentioned this before. Key organizations, the government, the GCUB, these are the basic scholarships you have. Basically, for those in Sao Paulo, I don't know about other states. Uh, these are the basic scholarship bodies you have in Brazil. The CMPQ is like debt fund in Nigeria. So yeah, the people through CAPEX they give scholarships to both Brazilians and international students. So life as an international student in Brazil, life in Brazil is, as you know, the Brazil is full of enjoyment, and they have quality education. I will attest to that. Uh, when I came in here, I saw a kind of different thing we have in Nigeria, uh, where each research or professor has its own lab, do research. You have a central equipment center where you can just go register. They will train you, and you get the knowledge to use so many. So they have so many things here. For example, UFABC, where I am now, is about 20 years old university, but the kind of equipment that is here within the space of 20 years can be cannot be compared with anything in Nigeria or anything I've seen so far as a person. So the personal growth, you have the that opportunity for personal growth, and the in terms of living cost of living, relatively low here in Brazil because you don't need, for example, as a student, a PhD student in Brazil, you are paid 3,100 reais. So that's the benchmark. Some organizations will pay you more than that. So that 3,100 reais is about 800, depending on the exchange rate, is about within 750 to 800,000. Then, if you are economical enough, you can manage yourself. If you are single, manage to live with 1,500 reais here. So you can do other things with 1,500 or 1,600, depending on your expenses and every other thing. Then life here in Brazil is good because you have, as a scholarship holder in Brazil, you have access to free healthcare. You have access to everything as far as you are documented. You have your visa. You have your your admission letter. You have access to every bound thing that a Brazilian has as well. So in terms of challenges, you have like language barrier, adjusting to new environments. We normally say there's no place like home. So and sometimes cost of living varies. Mostly in Brazil, in Sao Paulo here, we the cost of living here in Sao Paulo, because Sao Paulo is one of the major city in Brazil, cannot be compared with the cost of living with in other Amazona or not, where you have Bahia, where you have more of blacks. So the cost of living varies a bit, but in general, it's relatively okay. So a common mistake an applicants make, uh, in terms of a common mistake, I can say not reading instruction carefully, missing deadlines. As I've said that the Brazilian institution will not send you a message for any deadline. Maybe and most of their uh, step is eliminatory. If you don't submit what is required of you, that's the end for your admission. So you have to follow up with all the instruction in that notice of selection process. Though you have a weak personal statement, work recommendation letter. These are things that you can take care of. If you really want to travel, these are things you have to take care of. And then copy and paste. Mostly in this era of AI, people just generate information through AI and just without checking whether it's okay or not, and they will just send it. And people, as you are in Nigeria or anywhere using AI, people are somewhere else trying to identify how to checkmate student and every. other thing that follows goes with AI. So you need to look at your document, even if you generate with AI, try to work on it and impute your own, add your own contribution to it. So then, practical advice: research thoroughly, understand the research, the goal you are about to go, what you are about to go into. Then it's always good to plan ahead. For example, the GCUB is an annual scholarship call. Likewise, Beg PG, they are all annual scholarship call. Then you need to start planning on time so that by the time they will open the call, you will just apply. Then if you are interested in applying through internal selection, you need to study carefully the process of internal selection in that school, then follow up because mostly some of the schools in Brazil, they open admission call twice in a year, some open 3 times in a year. For example, my school, UFABC, they open admission call 3 times in a year. So you have opportunity in 3 years, that in three times in a year to apply for admission. So you have to plan, secure the consent of an advisor or a researcher in that school, then apply, make available all your documents. Basically, the documents are just your transcript, your your. Can you hear me? Are you with me?
Yes, we are.
So basically the documents are your transcript, your certificate. If you're applying for masters, your certificates, your BSc certificate. If you're applying for PhD, your master certificate and transcript. These are the basic document. Then your CV, you make available your CV, then your proposal. These are the basic things that you need to provide. So I think that's all I have. You can for today. Then I'll open for questions. Thank you.
All right, so thank you so much for the incredible presentation. That was really insightful. Learning from someone who has walked the same path that you are trying to brings a certain sense of direction that one cannot, most likely will not actually get from reading countless articles online. So thank you once again for sharing your knowledge with us. So moving on, we'll now move to our question and answer session. So if you have any question, this is the perfect time to ask. All right. Please hold on for me. Let me check the messages. All right. So I'll be reading this. There are okay, we have two questions from Moses Adeoye. The first question is, how were you able to cope with the language barrier for classes? And should I take it together or should I do it one after the other?
I think it's better we have it one after the other, please.
All
So
right,
that
all right. So
yeah.
yeah, that was the first question. How were you able to cope with the language barrier for classes?
As I've said before, the issue of language for postgraduate studies is not a much problem. For example, I just came back from Portuguese language class. I just rushed from the school down to my house in order to make presentation. So for the past 3 years, I've been attending Portuguese language class, and in terms of classroom interaction, some I would just take my school for example. Majority of professors in my school, they speak English fluently. So it's just between, and some of the students, they also do. So it's just to try to learn the language as much as you can. But in terms of classroom, the lectures are in Portuguese, no doubt. But some of not just some, the majority of the textbooks are in English. They just have few textbooks translated to Portuguese. So the advantage is there for somebody who is coming from English background. So understanding the concept will not be an issue for you, but it's just that you may not follow up what is happening in the class at the moment. So, but the concept and everything about the course you are studying, as far as you are good, academically sound, you are not going to have an issue. So, but you may not follow up. Again, you have translators now. They usually upload their class teaching most times they do make a presentation in PowerPoint. So they usually upload it in the portal. You can download, then translate to English and follow up with what's happened in the class. So it's not basically it's not an issue. To me, I don't know for others.
All right. Thank you so much. So the second question is, are there pathways to permanent residency as a student? Because some scholarship like GCUB, GCUB requires that you return to your home country after you're done. Sorry, what's GCUB scholarship? Maybe you could point that out. But yeah, are there
So
pathways to permanent residency as a student?
GCUB is an International Cooperation Group of Brazilian Universities. That's the translation in English. So in terms of
Okay.
permanent stay or permanent residency, that's a discussion for another day. But according to what they say, that normally if you are going to any country, you have to write that you are going to come back. It's a normal thing. It's expected for everybody. But I think is you. It depends on what you want, what you are planning to do, whether to stay in Brazil or to move somewhere else from here. But the major thing is that your plan determines whether you are going to stay or not. And there is so many ways people have achieved the residency here in Brazil. And I've said that's a discussion for another day.
All
But it's
right.
possible. That's why it's possible to get that after your studies.
Mm. Okay, sir. Thank you so much. So another person says, please, you do not mention the air flight. Who will take care of that?
Okay, you mean the most of these scholarships
Yeah.
with bodies, the only one that gives you air flight tickets to Brazil is TIWAS. For GCUB, FABEVs, PEG, they don't offer air flight to and fro. The only the much I know, the only scholarship that gives you air flight to and fro is Tiwa's CMPQ. They're the only one that does that.
Okay. All right, sir. So another person, this one is from Abdullah Adimola. Is Spanish allowed in Brazil or mainly Portuguese as their official language?
Now it's Portuguese. That does not mean that you cannot learn Spanish. That's the official language of Brazil is Portuguese.
Okay. All right. This one is from Mubarak Aila. Please, is the direct application similar to the USA's, which requires sending code emails?
Yes, it's similar to that because you have to get, well, part of it is that you need to go through the call for application. That's notice of selection process. That's what they usually call it here in Brazil. Notice of selection process. Every information or every steps that need to be taken for you to make your own successfully apply for whether masters or PhD is stated in that notice of selection process. So if the notice states that you need to have the consent of a uh, researcher researcher in the department, then you need to provide that. And if you don't provide that, there's no need of applying because you will not succeed.
All right, sir. Okay, so another person, okay, still Sharifdin Kolawole. PhD program in Brazil, is it research based only or like US that has both coursework and research?
PhD program in Brazil is 4 years, and that 4 years we're expected to do courses. Mostly the PhD program in Brazil they are um, normal study where you do courses. Then, if after you are done with your courses, you can now start your research. Depending on your supervisor, some will just combine. For example, when I came in here, I started lab work the first week I came into Brazil. So no dulling. You are doing your lab work, you are doing your courses as well.
Awesome. Okay. All right, sir.
But
So the second question.
one other
Oh,
thing they do here in Brazil is that if your, for example, if your master's is new and your PhD is in the same area, they will kind of look at the course you did in your master's, then use it to compensate what you are going to do in your PhD. So you will end up not doing all the courses you are supposed to do. So for example, you have 8 courses to do in your PhD, and you have done like 10 courses in Nigeria during your master's. Then they will look at the courses and the content. If 3 courses among the courses you did in Nigeria is in line with what they are doing here, they will remove those courses for you. So that will reduce the number of courses you are going to do in your PhD. So that one is possible here in Brazil as well.
all right. Thank you, sir. So the second question is, can you work as a scholarship student?
No, it's not that it's not possible, but it's required that you, as a scholarship student in Brazil, you have 40 hours per week to put in your research, your studies and your research. You have 40 hours per week. So 40 hours per week translated to, I think it's 8 hours per day for 5 days. So I don't know how possible it's going to be for you to give 8 hours for your studies and research and still do some work, other work. So I doubt. And again, is issue of language. Nobody, if you go outside your school environment, nobody speaks English. Everything is both communication, everything is in Portuguese. So for you to study and work as well, you need Portuguese language. So for you to go to any supermarket or any organization, the first thing they will ask you, você fala Portuguese? Do you speak Portuguese? And if you say no, that's the end of conversation.
Oh, okay. All right, sir. So this is another question from Iyola Anulua. So he says, thank you for the insightful session. His first question is, coming from non-Portuguese speaking country, are there online language certificates that one must acquire which improved a candidate's chance of selection?
Yes, yeah, you have so many uh, Portuguese language, online Portuguese language schools or centers. You just search, just go to Google, use Google AI. They will just, you get those information for yourself. Then here in Brazil, for example, every school offers Portuguese language school. That's classes for individuals, both foreigners and even those outside Brazil. So it's now left for you to just search. You can get this information and register for language. Actually, it's good if you know a bit of the language before coming to Brazil. It will make your life easier. That's just the truth. If you know a bit of the language before you travel, before you arrive Brazil, that is the best thing to do. whether you have the proficiency certificate or not. Just acquire a bit of the language. It will be of help.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. So his second question is for direct application, is it important to send a cold email first? And does it increase the chance of getting admission if an advisor is secured ahead?
I think I've answered this before. It depends on the selection information. You have to go through the notice of selection process. For example, I have a friend who applied in a university where nothing was said about getting a supervisor. Now her name is out. So about 2 days ago, she wrote to the supervisor. I've secured admission, and they are now communicating, talking about what next. So that one is different from, because there is no, in that call for selection, there is no instruction that you must get supervisor. But if your university of interest, there is that caveat is there that you must get a supervisor. You have to get a supervisor.
Okay. All right, sir. So his third question is, do they place priorities more on CV research experience or the statement of goal purpose? Or I don't understand. Or the statement of purpose. Do they place priorities more on CV research experience or the statement of purpose?
I think everything about you, they evaluate everything you submit or you submitted to them. They don't your CV, because usually they have a template where each of these points, each of these documents has a point. So at the end of the day, they will evaluate you and place you between 1 and 10. So if your CV is not good enough to affect you, if you don't have a publication, it's going to affect you. If you have publication in all these anyhow publication, it will affect you, because here in Brazil, for example, from for example, in my lab, I have some students from high school that are coming to my lab to do research. So by the time they will do their masters or they will start doing their postgraduate study, they must have gotten 1 or 2 or 3 publications in high impact factor journal. So you are now competing with people, those kind of people. So you have to put up your documents and everything. You have to put them in shape before you apply.
All right. All right, thank you, sir. So this one is from Temitayo Fayileno. Kindly expatiate on the research proposal. Do you have samples you can share? Samples
Mm,
on research proposal.
maybe not now, but I can easily look around and get 1 or 2.
Mm.
So yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. So I thought you wanted to talk more
No,
on it.
continue.
Oh, all right, sir. So this next person, Peace Oluleye, she asks whether you can talk more about the PEG PG scholarship application and when it will start.
The PEC PG, I don't know how they are, because the GCUB just ended the beginning of this month. For the PEC PG, it's like it's not business as usual, because now part of what the last documentation or document they published is like they are now directing universities to make the selection. Previously, the government will make selection. You open a portal, people will apply, then the government will send their names to the university, then the universities will now return the back. So I don't know why they have changed the method. It's like now the university will first of all apply that they want to host international students. The government will approve it. Then the universities will now select those candidates. So I don't know the reason why they have changed the pattern, but it's not yet out. What they recently published is the call for universities to apply. That's universities that want to host international students through PEC should apply. So that's the latest now.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. So this is another one from Sherifdin Kolawole. You promised us to share the link to prepare CVs based on what they needed in Brazil. So I guess it's
Okay,
asking.
yes,
Yeah.
the lattice CV. Let me get it. I'm saying lattice CV.
All right. Thank you. Um,
So this is the lattice CV. I just sent to the chat. This lattice CV.
okay. All right. Thank you, sir. So the second question is, the scholarship package stipends the same or some are better?
For the benchmark for scholarship in Brazil is 3,100 reais, which I've said before is around 750 to 800 or a little bit above that, depending on the exchange rate. Then, if you are in state of Sao Paulo, you have if you have the opportunity to get FAPEX is like two times 3,100 or even more than that. So that, and I think that's the highest paid scholarship here in Brazil. So if you're in state of Sao Paulo and you are lucky to get a supervisor that that's already enjoying FAPEX or that have secured FAPEX scholarship, FAPEX research grant. So such should be may be extended to you because as you are looking for it as an international student, there are people are also looking for it as well. That's it.
All right, sir. Thank you. So we have another question from Aliru Abdullah. He asks how much is the average living stipend for a PhD student?
I've said that 3,100 reais.
Okay. So is there any post-study opportunity?
Postdoctorate opportunity.
I think he said post-study opportunity.
What kind of okay? You mean after that's getting job after your your
Yes.
study?
Yes, I studied.
Yeah, it depends. As I've said before, it's the possibility of getting that is dependent on your level of Portuguese language proficiency. If you can speak Portuguese very well, you will get a job after your your studies. But mind you, it may not be the same or similar with what they pay in US or in European countries or Canada. But the issue is that life here in Brazil is all okay, and the money will be enough for you to live here in Brazil because they can pay you what is above their minimum wage or their level of work labor force. So that's just it.
Mm. All right, sir. So I think you have answered this before, but let me read it out. From Yaya Aliu Shina. He said he applied for the scholarship at UFSM and he had been shortlisted while waiting for the admission letter, but he has not heard from them. So he's asking if you know anything about the school.
Actually, it happened that my friend also applied for admission in this school. And as I said before, she has been shortlisted. But if you are, what's his name, Yaya? I think you need to go. That's why I keep on saying you need to go and read the notice of selection process. Uh, as of Friday, that's yesterday, is the final day for the department to submit or publish the list of selected students after the evaluation. Then you have from 27th to 29th to accept your admission. I don't know. He should know that if you have gone through the notice of selection process. You have from 27 to 29 for you to accept your admission. So, and then there's another, they will have to evaluate if you submitted a document for affirmation. They have what they call here affirmative selection, affirmative. Is what they call it. But actually, what he's talking about is declaring that you are a black, because they have quota for blacks, indigenous people in Brazil, blacks in Brazil. So if you declare that you are black, you have opportunity of getting the admission and also getting scholarship. If there is an opportunity for you to declare that you are a black, I don't know if Yahaya declared that he's a black. Then if he did so, he should go to that notice of selection. There is a place where they say that they will call you for interview. For those that declare themselves that they are black or they declare any other thing, that they will call you on so date for interview. You should go there and check.
All right, thank you. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you so much for the insightful session and the answers that you have provided. As we conclude today's webinar, I would like to extend a sincere gratitude to our speaker once again for sharing such a valuable insight with us. So I'd also like to thank everyone who has joined us today and asked questions. We really do appreciate your time. So before we go, I would like to pass the mic to Dr. Semil for the presentation of the award. Dr. Semil.
Yeah, thank you so much. We sincerely appreciate our speaker, Noso Okoli, on behalf of Sour Concept community. We wish you a successful PhD degree, and we are looking forward to celebrate you for your PhD. And we extend our appreciation to Adana Doris, who referred us to you. Adana is also in Brazil. So on behalf of the team, I would like to present this certificate of appreciation. So on behalf of Sour Concepts, we sincerely appreciate you for your significant contribution at today's webinar titled Study in Brazil with Scholarship as our guest speaker. And I believe you have sincerely inspired our community, and we extend our sincere gratitude for your insightful and impactful session, which has captivated the audience and enriched the knowledge of our attendees. Thank you so much, and we wish you all the best in all your endeavors.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate the certificate and I also want to thank Adana as well for her recommendation. I also want to thank the organization for believing in me, calling me for this, and I think it's something that I usually want to do always, to tell people that this is possible, and Brazil is one of those places you can come and do your studies and maybe move to another country of your choice, or you can choose to stay here as well. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
You are welcome. And also, I would like to add this before we go. For anyone that is looking at studying in non-English speaking country, learning international language is also an asset. Portuguese, Spanish, Arabic, French, Chinese is something that is, you can find yourself working with international organization, and it also makes people to relate with you, just like you said. If you cannot speak a language in a community, people don't relate with you. It's also something that makes it easy. So if you are looking at exploring the opportunities in Brazil for the next application, start learning Portuguese from now to the Lugo YouTube channel, and you will never regret doing so. Thank you. So over to you back, Maria. Mariam, are you with us? Over to you.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that my mic was not on. Thank you so much. Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, all right. Thank you, sir. So, one more thing to add before we close this session completely. I would like to announce to you about our next webinar happening next month on the 29th of August. And the theme of the webinar will be on winning the DAD scholarship, DAAD scholarship. It's one of Germany's most prestigious scholarship programs for international students. And it offers funding for master's, PhD, research programs at top German universities. So would definitely love to have you present, and you can of course register for this said webinar on our especially our Instagram page. We will be putting the link up on our Instagram page, so please do endeavor to register. And also please follow Sao Concept across our social media platforms at Sao Concept on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Sao Concept. Thank you once again for spending the most significant part of your day with us. To have a wonderful day, and we hope to see you at our next webinar. Thank you. Dr. Semi, is there anything? Dr. Semi, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. I just want to say thank you in Portuguese. Obrigado to Scholar Nosso, and obrigada to you. Thank you for joining us today.
Obrigado, obrigado, moço.
Yeah,
Ciao.
yeah, obrigado.
Ótimo,
Ciao.
ótimo, ótimo, ótimo.
Hello, someone asked of the Telegram group link.
Okay, okay, I've dropped it. I can drop it again. Or you
I
can
just
drop
did.
it.
Yeah,
Okay,
I just
thank
did.
you. Obrigada.
Obrigada, obrigada.
Obrigada. Obrigada. Okay, obrigado. Thank you, Scholar
Ciao.
Nosso. I will keep in touch.
Okay, ciao, ciao.
Yeah, bye.